Much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
We've got more to come on this edition of Hockey Night New York Live. We're going to hear from Bruce Bennett when we come back, a man who spent more than 3 decades photographing the NHL. He brings along some of his greatest pictures. You're watching Hockey Night New York Live, presented by Panasonic. Photographing. We continue on Hockey Night New York Live, presented by Panasonic from Studio 11 right here at Madison Square Garden. And if you've ever been to an NHL game, no doubt if you look around the boards, you'll see this man, Bruce Bennett. For more than 3 decades, he's been a photographer for the NHL, and it's great to see him.
Nice to be here,
And
John.
it's always great to see your photos as well. How many photos, how many times would you estimate you've clicked your shutter on a hockey player or on action over the years?
Well, you know, in September of '04, we sold our company to Getty Images, and at that time we did an inventory, and there were about 2 million images, and
2 million?
I had shot about 1 million of those 2 million.
And that's the ones you kept, or do you keep everything?
Getty Images has them all.
Even if the photo is blurred or you missed what you were going for?
Oh, that kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, there was stuff that was thrown out, sure. So I shot a little bit more than the million. And the garbage was tossed.
That's pretty amazing. So of those million photos, that means there's been thousands of personalities who you photographed. Who are some of the ones over the last 34 years that really stand out?
Well, Wayne Gretzky, of course. Just trying to stay up and focus on him as he's skating up ice. Guys like Bobby Orr. In fact,
that's a famous photo, isn't it? Tell us what that is.
Right. That was Gretzky scoring his record breaker to goals in a season to beat Esposito's record back in 1981.
Yeah, it's almost like asking the Beatles, give me your top 10 songs, but we have asked you to kind of pick out 10 or 15 of the photos that you really cherish over the years. We're going to go through some of those now. And again, he has spent more than 2 decades with the Islanders, 14 years the Rangers team photographer. He's also been with the Devils and the Flyers. So, Bruce Bennett, take us through some of these photos, beginning with Mike Bossy. What was your inspiration for this picture?
I don't know. I don't know where that started.
I think it's tremendous.
But we did set off the fire alarms in Nassau Coliseum when we did that.
Oh, that's great. How cooperative was he for that?
He was great. Yeah. He was more than willing to try it out, as long as we kept the stick far enough away from him when we set it on fire. He was great.
One stick?
One stick.
And how many photos?
Oh, I think I blasted through about 30 with a motor drive while the fire was going there.
That's great. Another guy who you've probably taken thousands of photos of, Mark Messier. Why does this one stand out?
Because it's always about the eyes. Hockey photography is about the eyes. It's not really about the action. And anyone knows when you see Messier coming down the ice towards you, he's got the fire in his eyes. So always trying to get in nice and tight and close.
To me, it's amazing as well. You got the sticks lined up almost so that they frame his face.
Well, there were a lot of frames we threw away as well until we got that one where you could see him through the maze.
I would imagine that happens a lot. All right, you mentioned Wayne Gretzky before. There was a moment that Gretzky and Lemieux played together, Canada Cup. There it is. To me, what stands out about this photo is what's between the 2 players.
Yeah, that was the goal. They won Canada Cup with that, and it was a big moment in Canadian hockey history where Mario Lemieux and Wayne Gretzky played together and really got the country behind them against the Russians.
I just love the fact that they're about to embrace, yet there's the referee right between them. You talk about just freezing a moment in time, the referee pointing to the net as a goal. You also, technology, I would imagine, is such a big part of your business. This next photo really takes us into the game, literally, because it's into the net. How much have net photographs helped your cause?
Right. Well, you know what? It's something that we do not too often. A few times a season, we'll put a camera in the net, trigger it with a remote control, and it's really something you have to get your head into to try to figure out when the right time is to push that button.
Yeah, it gives you a fabulous perspective too when you see something like that.
Right. It's different. Clients love it. It's published all over the world many times. The net cam photos are always great.
A lot of people have described hockey as poetry on ice or even ballet on ice. Let's take a look at a photo that I think captures both. Pavel Bure.
I miss Pavel Bure. I think all the photographers do, because he was such a fluid skater. He was an easy guy that you could track and keep and shoot as he was coming down ice. This is one of his first games playing for the New York Rangers, and he's missed a photographic and from a talent standpoint.
Yet for all of its beauty on ice and its majesty, it's also a very brutal and rough sport, and I think Darius Kasparaitis sometimes sums that up with really what has become still his signature hit.
He's always been one of my favorites, back from like this shot in the New York Islander days and now with the Rangers. Very expressive player, gets down and dirty, does what he has to, and he's still one of those guys who throws the hip check, which you don't see too often. Yeah,
almost all of these photos are moments in time, but there are some teams that cherish moments even more. This next photo is certainly one that probably hangs in the Meadowlands somewhere because it's the first goal ever scored by the New Jersey Devils. Do you remember it?
Right. Don Lever scoring it in the Meadowlands. I'll give everyone a chance to try to figure out who the other two players are.
All right, the one on the right, you kind of see his name, Merlin Malinowski, believe it or not. The one on the left?
Billy McMillan, who was also an Islander from earlier days, but not a great shot, but a historic moment.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's when you went to that game, that was your thought.
That was it. That's the idea, is you didn't need to come out of that game with a great photo. You had to have that moment, though.
Obviously, everybody also, from a photographer standpoint, the people on the ice, the people in the front offices, their goal is to win the Stanley Cup, and when it finally happens, the goal for you is to capture a moment, and there it is. That's Bob Gainey, 79, when the Canadiens beat the Rangers.
Right, and it was one of those things. I was a young kid, and I was up in Montreal, one of the first times they'd been up there. I could not get onto the ice, and I eventually, at the end of the game, I had the press pass, but couldn't get out there, and ended up standing on a chair and shot it from the stands.
So sometimes location, being on the ice, isn't even as good as not.
Right, well, that photo alone has sold more than 30 times all over the world because it was a real generic shot of the thrill of victory, winning the Stanley Cup.
Does Bob Gainey have that?
I don't think he does.
He doesn't.
Well, he could buy it for the right price.
If he's watching, he can call. Another photo that I think is tremendous, but that I've heard hasn't sold as well, is this one. Lanny McDonald cherishing, and you really can tell, a picture's worth 1,000 words, the cup. Why has this picture not sold?
Well, come on, his eyes are closed.
But that's the whole idea, I would think.
Well, sometimes you have to tell publishers that's what it's all about. The Stanley Cup, the dream has come true, and that was the
Absolutely,
the shot.
I would think. All right, we have one more photo to show, and this one to me is great, if for no other reason than there's a man who plays in this building that you can blackmail with this. Look at the guy on the right.
Right. I'm going to have to guess who that is and how many years ago that was.
I would probably say it's Jaromir Jagr, and probably circa 1991 or 2, and I would bet he would pay you to not publicize that.
The hair is great, isn't it?
Isn't that tremendous? Bruce Bennett, it's been great to see you. Keep up the good work. We look forward to seeing your photos in many publications afterward.
Thanks very much.
Bruce Bennett, a treasure for the National Hockey League. That's going to do it for this edition of Hockey Night New York Live, presented by Panasonic. Because the NHL is going on its Olympic break, we will as well. We'll have best of shows the next 2 weeks. We're back live on March the 2nd. Join us then right here on MSG. Good night, everyone.